Hello YouTube, Kashifi here at KRGraphics, and I'm back with a new video. It's been a few weeks. I ended my sabbatical. It's about a year some change, and I must say the reaction to my video I posted recently was been very positive and very encouraging too. It feels good to come back and do what I love doing the most: creating beautiful art, creating content for the world to see. And I mentioned in that video too why I took a sabbatical off. Took a whole year off from creating content and trying to adjust a few things. Aside from getting married, of course, which is a absolutely beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. I was also dealing with a lot of physical and mental struggles that I'm still working through. And in due time, I'll work through them and get better with it. And in the video I'm doing today, I'm pretty sure that the topic I will cover, a lot of you will be able to relate to it. This is a mental health awareness month, and I think this is a good time to talk about what I've been dealing with. So that those who also deal with the same issue I'm dealing with, we have some sort of encouragement to get better, to prove their lives, whether creatively, professionally, or personally. And what I'm dealing with too is it affected my creativity and confidence a lot. And in this video today too, will also give me that little boost I need to keep creating content. Keep doing what I love, because, well, art is my life. So it's a nice Sunday afternoon, sun's out, and I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy wherever you are. And without further ado, if you're new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when I drop new content, you will know. It also helps my channel, grow a little bit, and also gives me the extra bit of motivation I need to keep doing this for you. And for those of you who are returning, if you appreciate and admire my hard work, I want to thank you for taking the time to visit me today. So there's a lot to cover, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you what I've been dealing with. So let's begin the video, guys. Thank you. All right, let's get into this video. And this is going to be a very deep conversation. In a conversation I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, especially during the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And also too, I hope you guys like the new format I'm doing. I decided to blend a nice conversation, a cup of tea, and some art. Hope you guys enjoy that too. But before I begin, if you haven't done so yet, please feel free to subscribe to my channel and also hit the notification bell so that you are notified when I drop new content. So I would like to start off this conversation with a few scenarios to kind of whet your palate a bit. So there will be 3, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to a few of these. So I'll begin the first one, and this one's more focused on artists, like I am, and I'm sure many artists who are older and younger can relate to this. So here we go. So you are an artist, and you are attending a local show, a local trade show, and there are a lot of other artists, different mediums, painters, sculptors, cosplay artists, and even 3D artists. You are well known around your hometown. Your work is very well known online, in your portfolio, and even in art galleries. So during this convention, you meet a few people who are admirers of your work, and they give you a lot of praise. Give you a lot of props to your work. Tell how good it is and how inspired they are, how impressed they are by your work. But instead of taking the praise, you go into this mode of being self-critical. Saying things like, well, this piece could have been a little better. I missed a few details and some parts that come out right. Or I wish this piece was, I didn't even like this piece very much, but, I'm trying to fix it. And that right there alone is an example of, I guess, a lot of artists deal with. A lot of us are our own worst critics. So here's the next scenario. And this one involves trying to downplay your expertise. You are a scientist, a leading expert in your field. You had many research papers and dissertations published on the internet. A lot of people have read them and really admire your work. You're at a gala with meeting other scientists, psychologists, doctors, people who do work in different various fields of science and medicine. And you have friends with you, and as you walk around the room, work in the room, enjoying the food, shoot the breeze. You and your friend meet another person who's also a scientist in their field, and your friend introduces you to the scientist, saying, "Hi, this is Dr. So and So, who is a leading expert in psychology." And then you go ahead and say, instead of saying "nice to meet you," like you should at a place like this, you try to downplay your skill set. Doing things like, "Oh well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert like that. I'm just really good at what I'm doing. I'm sure there are other people who are more qualified than I am." So instead of saying thank you and going on a conversation because you are an expert in your field, your friend is taken aback by your comment. And so was the doctor. So was the doctor had the new person they met. The doctor who says, "Are you sure? Because I've read your dissertations, and you are really good. You're truly top level in your field." And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have done that too in the past. All right, and here's the last scenario, and I'm not sure this one will kind of tie into what I'm going to discuss today, but I'm sure you've seen this meme on the internet a few times. So here it goes. And this one involves the bricklayer. You are a bricklayer, and in one panel you see your brick wall. Beautiful, all the bricks level, the mortar work very clean. The wall looks sturdy. And the caption says, "Will you do your work alone?" Versus the other panel. The wall is kind of off kilter, very uneven. The bricks are twisted. Some are missing or staggered crazily. And the caption says, versus, "Will you show your work in front of other people?" And that last one there I can relate to. Because I've had, imagine yourself as an artist or a designer. You're doing your best work. Your power, when you're by yourself, your powers are on full display. You're using most of your skills to get the work done, and it looks magnificent. Versus doing the same job in front of a client or in front of an audience, and suddenly your skills falter. And when those skills falter, you notice that you don't feel the same euphoria you had when you did it by yourself. You begin to question your skills as an artist, your self-worth as a designer. And there's a term for that. And that term is called Impostor Syndrome. Now, what do you think of when you hear the word imposter? You may hear the word phony. You may hear the word fake. You may hear the word fraud, copycat, doppelganger. Or for young people, you're biting, if that makes any sense. But what is imposter syndrome? Well, I'll tell you based on the some information I've looked online, and I'll share the link below. I'll share the link to where I found this information. And here's a definition. Imposter syndrome refers to an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. Now, of course, it's not only about intelligence and achievement. It also could be linked to perfectionism and also a social context. Which means, as I mentioned earlier, this doesn't only leak into things like your profession or your achievements. It can also spill into ordinary life. Such as you might deal with imposter syndrome where you feel like you're not a good parent or you're not a good husband. And in my case too, I've been dealing with this for quite a long time, for as long as I can remember. And the one thing I don't want to happen to me involving imposter syndrome is, this spilling into my marriage. I'm working very hard to avoid that as much as possible and fix what underlying issues are causing this. Now there are many traits to imposter syndrome. There's the superhero, the expert, the perfectionist. There are a few others that I'm probably missing, but in this video, I'm going to be covering the most that pertains to me, and that's perfectionism. Something I've been dealing with for a very long time as an adult and as an artist. I'll give you a little background about why I'm talking about this. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm a 3D artist who has been doing this for a very long time. I've been doing computer graphics since I was in my late teens. And over the years, I've learned so much about my craft, including high-res sculpting, character modeling. Oh, and speaking of modeling, the video in the background you're seeing is part of my current project. I wanted to try a new format instead of a talking head video. But that aside, of course, there are a few issues I've had as an artist that have kind of hindered my progress and kind of tainted my esteem a little bit, in my confidence. This past year, of course, too, is a prime example of that. I had a whole sabbatical because I was dealing with some personal issues in regards to creativity and strength as an artist. I'll give you an example of this. I've been working on digital humans as my top skill set. And while I'm still learning this stuff, I'm very impressed with it. I've had issues where, I'm working on a project and the details aren't showing the way I want to, and I get so locked in that one little detail, while everything else looks good. The model looks good, the sculpture, the detail, the model structure looks good, but that one little detail, it's hindering me from going forward. And that definitely hurts a little bit too. It hurts your progress and also hurts your confidence too. That detail doesn't come as right. But it's not only about the detail as well. It's also we live in a world where there's a lot of we live in the world of social media, and that unfortunately too can really feed this monster of imposter syndrome, where everything you do is measured by the metric of likes, and shares, and try to get validation from other people. I fell into that trap too, where I would share my work, even unfinished, or progress shots every few hours on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, what have you, just to get either feedback or the approval of others. And what happens is when you don't get that feedback, you begin to question yourself worse as an artist. You begin asking yourself, do I belong here? Am I a great artist? Why is no one liking my work? And for many years, that mindset haunted me, especially now in my late 30s, as I'm getting better at my art. And I had to nip that in the bud. It definitely hurts too, because you're basically trying to compare yourself to other people, and it lowers your own self-worth. The important thing is be in charge of your own self-worth. No one should measure their self-worth, their confidence, or whether they're worthy or not to be in a profession to a few button clicks. And plus I feel bad for those too, like especially kids now who are raised on social media, because one of the biggest issues I've seen for kids is living comparisons. Someone else has this. If I don't have this, I'm not worthy to be an artist or designer, or I'm not worthy as a person, just because someone doesn't like what I posted, or I'm not getting the validation I need. And that's something I want to avoid now. I try to do better at. And there are a few things I've done to kind of cope with this. But before I do, of course, I want to share with you a quote that I got from a book that I was reading. A book I bought from Barnes & Noble. And the name of the book is called "Why Do I Feel Like an Imposter?" And this book covers imposter syndrome deeper than I'm talking about here in this video. And the name of the author is Dr. Sandy Mann. And I've been reading this book, and man, a lot of the stuff here caught my eye, especially me reading it. If you don't mind, I'll share with you a few excerpts from the book that I've read. So let me see here. Here we go. I'll share the first one with you. And it says here, This one was about perfectionism. So I can find it there. All right. Okay, so it says here, I'm trying to find it for you. Oh, here we go. There's another scenario for you too. This one was about perfectionism. In order for the imposter to prove their worth, they must get everything right. Imposters, therefore, often fear failure or anything less than perfection, as this may reinforce their feared view that they are fake. Imagine an artist producing a painting, and as they paint, deep down they wonder, why are they doing this? They don't have any genuine talent. Yes, they may have an exhibition at a prestigious gallery and make a comfortable living from selling their work, but they believe they are not really all that talented, and they live in fear that this lack of talent will be exposed, will be uncovered, and all the success to date will melt away. So, their works have to be perfect. Anything less simply reinforces the view that they are rubbish. Chances are they will destroy any work that does not meet their own high expectations, quickly giving rid of the evidence of their lack of talent or ability. This perfectionism can lead to a cycle whereby the fear of failure leads to perfectionism, which manifests itself in overworking or being unable to accept a project is complete, or sometimes even being afraid to even start something for fear that it may not be good enough. And that right there is something I've been dealing with for a number of years. In fact, it is shown in my work. It's shown in my work a lot, where, as I mentioned earlier, I obsess over small details instead of finishing a damn project. And that really hurts, man. In fact, I remember one night someone told me that, why are you wasting time with this? No one's gonna care about this. No one's gonna care about this detail you're putting in. You need to work better at it. Instead of praising me instead of getting praise and thanked for the work or being admired for it, I almost destroyed an entire project off my hard drive. I was so distraught that being told this really bothered me. And before I did that though, I actually went ahead and I saw a post on my Instagram where someone told me that I inspired them to become an artist and to never give up. And I will admit though too, it actually felt pretty good hearing that, because I was in a horrible state where I almost destroyed my work, my life's work, and it didn't feel good to me hearing that for someone. Someone. And by the way, the person who told me this was someone who wasn't known in real life to me. This is someone online. And that's another thing too I want to point out as well. There are 7.4 billion people in this world, and unless they are your close friends, members of your family, or even your spouse, why should their opinion even matter? And I let that bother me for months, and many months, and so much so that I didn't create anything for a whole year. While I'm trusting to be newly married, I didn't make any work for an entire year. Just agonizing over small details that weren't important at the time. And before I continue, of course, I will go back to an excerpt for this book, and I'll share the last line that I read that really spoke to me. And the line says, "After all, truly talented people shouldn't need approval from others to validate their skills." And that's very true for any person in any profession, especially an artist. And I've done a few things to kind of cope with imposter syndrome. And I'll tell you a few of those things I've done the last few months to cope with it. In fact, I have some projects here that I'm going to show on the screen in a minute. And these are things I've actually done the last few months, which is part of my personal challenge as an artist, to do a new piece every month. The first thing I did was to stop worrying about the details right now. Focus on getting the work done. And also to not post my work on social media until it's finished. Now, of course, everyone posts everything they do on social media, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Now, good thing, because you want people to see your work. The bad thing is you're looking for validation from others. You don't need it. You know you're talented. And what I usually do is I post my work online when it's done. and then when it's done, I don't touch it again, ever again. I put it in my archives and never be seen again. And the second one I've done is to block out any negative energy that may impact my self-esteem and confidence. Such as, instead of trying to downplay my expertise or take the power away from the praise. Example of this: I saw an old post of mine where someone told me that I'm a master of my craft, and I was dumb and said, I don't believe it. I'm not really a master, and that is a dumb move, because that right there, you're kind of being self-depreciating, and you don't want to do that. So now I'm learning to just take the praise, say thank you, and go on with it. Work on your art piece. My job as an artist is to create and not be worried about what others think of me. And there's another thing too I want to point out as well, is as if you're dealing with anxieties and insecurities about whatever you're dealing with, don't worry about what other people think of you. You should not place stock in what other people say about you. You shouldn't let that affect your self-esteem and confidence. Imagine, treat like a broom, like dust on a dustpan. Sweep it in, put it in the garbage, and move on. And I'm definitely getting better at this. And right now I'm going to be working on some bigger projects. And also I've learned to, if I'm working on something really big or I have lofty goals for the project, keep it under wraps. Don't go around telling everybody everything. Because then, of course, when you don't finish a project, you feel like a fool. But that's all I want to talk about today in this video. It's pretty important thing I want to discuss, because it has really affected my life in a very big way. And I'm trying to get better at this and make sure that it doesn't affect my mental health. So that's all I want to talk about today, guys. And I will see you at the end of this video. Well, guys, that was a big video. I covered a lot today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Mental health is not easy to talk about. It's a very sensitive subject, and some people it may not be easy to discuss. But I hope you guys got something out of this. And if you're interested in the video in the background, me modeling, I'll have another video coming up soon where I demonstrate how I created that model from start to finish. It's a real fun video, and it's a real fun project, and it's part of my monthly projects I'm working on. And before I go, of course, there's one thing I want to say that's very important. If you're dealing with mental health issues of any sort, it's nothing wrong getting help. It's a very serious thing to cover. Talk to a friend, someone you trust to confide in, or even see a medical professional. If things get any worse, it's very important to keep your mental health intact, especially in the Black community where it's often stigmatized. It's okay to get help. I'm looking to do the same thing myself. Get help with my issues with Impostor Syndrome. But with that being said, of course, if you guys liked the video, please leave a like, leave a comment on your thoughts. What I covered today, even to say hello, and most importantly, subscribe and hit that bell so that when I drop new content, you become the first to see it. So other than that, I'm Kashif Riley. I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, and God bless. Thank you for watching.